I'm Allyson Vitao. I'm the principal at Norton Commons Elementary. This is my 21st year as an educator within Jefferson County Public Schools and my 11th year as an elementary school principal. So I think in any setting, the most important thing when we get into conversations about equity and race is to make sure that the pre-work is done so that all of your stakeholders are well aware of what your philosophy is on race and equity, and that your staff is also on the same page about race and equity. Some examples for that is we always talk about our diversity in our school tours to prospective parents, so that they understand how diverse our population is and how much we appreciate that and honor that within our school. So they know from the very beginning that part of who we are as a school is an equitable group within our school walls and outside of our school walls too, that we serve as advocates for all of our students and for their success. Also, another example of that is within every interview that we do for staff that are hired within our school, equity is always a focus within our interviews as well. So they know, even considering being a part of our school staff, that that is a priority for us, and that it will continue to be something that is a focal area for them should they be selected to be part of our team. And I think by doing both of those things, among other activities that we do in the school, cultural nights, the Acts of Valor programming that we have here at the school, where we showcase a variety of character traits. And then we have people from different backgrounds that are representatives of those character traits so that students can see themselves in these exemplars that we choose. All of those different things set us up for when we do have to have difficult conversations about race and equity, because it is a non-negotiable that we are going to provide that equitable environment within our school. Everyone knows that it is one of the facets that leads us to our mission and vision being accomplished within our school. And so we are already moving in the same direction and understanding the same premises of why this work is important. And so the difficulty comes in when people don't understand why it's important, or why we have to take intentional steps in order to ensure that this is happening. But again, part of that is just being a listener first and foremost, to understand why there is a resistance to this change. And a lot of times when I've had to have those conversations with people, they have reasons of why they're concerned. But by having conversations with them about why it's important for us, why it's important for the greater community, they oftentimes come around. They just don't understand that other side of the equation. And a lot of times, their vision is very limited to only those who they encounter each day. And they don't have that context of the greater good or the greater cause. And so again, part of that is being a good listener, but also being very strong in what my beliefs are, what my school's beliefs are, and in the action steps that we're taking to ensure that equitable environment within our building. So I think every day, it has been a focus for us at our school as far as culturally responsive teaching and racial equity for several years. And of course, even at my school that I led prior to opening Norton Commons Elementary, this work was always front and center as far as disaggregating data, looking at where achievement gaps exist, and then of course moving further from that into determining why the gaps exist and what can we do to overcome them. And so again, it's part of our philosophy of who we are and how we disaggregate data, that we are constantly looking at how to improve achievement and learning for students. And oftentimes that requires a wraparound approach to student services. When we drill down to the why is this occurring, oftentimes it's not an academic issue. It's something that we need to provide additional support through our Family Resource Center or through our school counseling framework, or additional support needs to be provided to a specific teacher that's really struggling with implementing some of the best practice strategies in culturally responsive teaching. And so we definitely have to employ an all hands on deck approach to equity and providing support to any of the stakeholders that require support in this area. Our school also has done targeted professional development on culturally responsive teaching. 2 summers ago, we did differentiated book studies where each member of our staff, including our classified staff, joined a book study group over the summer. And we did small groups for a variety of different topics, from academics to how boys, specifically boys of color, learn to read, a variety of topics. And all of our staff were engaged in looking at that literature and then reporting back out to the staff on the information that they heard and how they see it being impressed upon the students here at our school. After that, we then incorporated those best practice strategies that we learned during the book study into our walkthrough protocol. And so it was a focal area for those of us on the walkthrough team as we went into classrooms to look specifically at whether those strategies that we had discussed during these book studies and professional development were being enacted in the classroom. And then we provided feedback in a very comfortable setting for our teachers on where we felt their next steps were as far as their work within culturally responsive teaching and equity. Through all of that work, the teachers became so immersed in wanting to know more that they requested another book study be held. And so we are embarking on that as a staff as well. Because we know that this is a continuous learning process, and we are always seeking to grow in our knowledge about how to meet the needs of all students within our classroom. Sure. So again, I think that part of that communication with stakeholders regarding racial equity is the pre-work, to let them know exactly where you stand ahead of time. All of my SBDM members, all of my parents are very well versed in my philosophy around racial equity because I'm very vocal about it from the very beginning. Again, in those school tours, in our videos regarding our school and what we showcase. Our teachers also are very vocal about meeting the needs of all students and making sure that all of our students are successful. We're incorporating a lot of activities to make sure to honor different cultures and backgrounds and things like that. And so part of that is the pre-work and making sure that we've done that and that our parents understand, again, the very foundational philosophy that we are in the business of making sure that all students are successful and that all students are able to achieve at high levels. And so that is our very foundational purpose at our school, is to ensure that for all students. Further than that, I absolutely always talk about what trendsetters we are within Jefferson County Public Schools, how we are one of the first urban districts, if not the first urban district in the entire nation, to have a comprehensive racial equity plan, to have racial equity plans at the school level as well, to be involved in the REAP process and the EMPT process. We are doing such groundbreaking work. And we absolutely should be proud of where we are in conjunction with other districts that are our size as it relates to equity, because it does absolutely reflect our community and the makeup of our district. And it ensures that we all have a similar focus on, again, going back to what I just said, ensuring that all students are successful at high levels and that we meet the needs of all of them in every school within our system. So the one thing that I've learned the most about myself is my absolute foundational belief in the rationale and the reason for the need of, the imperative that we have around racial equity. It is absolutely a part of who I am. It is how I lead. And it's evidenced in everything that I do in my role. It was as a teacher. It was at the district level when I worked as a resource teacher, and then also as a school administrator. That has always been a common thread in who I am, is this work around racial equity and ensuring equitable outcomes and access for all students that I worked with on a daily basis. And so through the work with JCPS's racial equity, it has reaffirmed, affirmed, enhanced all of those beliefs and things that I have worked so hard at throughout my tenure as an educator here in Jefferson County. I absolutely have also appreciated all of the professional learning that I've been engaged in regarding equity, because again, that's something just like everything else. As new things come out, as population changes, one example would be, students that speak other languages other than English. So our English language learning students, that is not something that I had a lot of experience with until I became a principal. And so learning about how to meet the needs of those students and create an equitable environment for them as well has been something that has enhanced me professionally as well. So again, the thing that all of this work has done for me is just further solidified what I truly believe is the purpose of education. And it has also given me the opportunity to advocate for that and ensure that that is occurring in the environments in which I'm working. Every student wants to know that they are honored for who they are and that they are loved. That is first and foremost. And part of my philosophy of education is that social emotional component always has to be primary to the academic achievement. Students have to feel welcome. They have to feel that they are able to be who they are, and they have to feel like they are going to be heard. So for the students that are watching this video, please know that we see you and we hear you and that we honor you. And you are very important to our school and to our district. I wanted to encourage you to become your own advocate. Use your voice. We want to hear you. You are so important to where we will go from here. And you know more than anyone what we need to do as educators to better meet your needs. So please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us on the staff at any school where you are at and let us know how we can be of assistance, because we want you to be successful and we know that it is our job to help you to get there.